It is tax day. You've got until midnight to get your returns in. And President Trump spent the day doing a victory lap about his tax plan and the economy. He wrote an op-ed in USA Today touting job gains, tax reform, and the health of the economy. But here's one thing that he didn't mention in his article. People don't appear to be in love with the new GOP tax law. A new poll from the Wall Street Journal and NBC News shows only 27% of Americans say it's a good idea. This is 36% say it's a bad idea, and another third have no opinion. The president also forgot to mention how the tax law will balloon the federal deficit. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says we'll be looking at trillion-dollar deficits starting in 2020. And that's typical of a Republican administration. The GOP likes to sell itself as fiscally responsible, but these charts tell a different story. This one shows the ups and downs of deficits and surpluses. The Republicans have a lot more ups than downs through their administrations. And in this chart shows the rise or fall of deficits. Again, the Republicans see the increases and Democrats show the decreases. Let's start with the tax plan because, Scott, this was supposed to be the Republicans' calling card for the elections this November for the midterms. We saw in that House race in Pennsylvania that they stopped talking about the tax plan. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to sell to a lot of people.
Well, first of all, I don't trust that poll any farther than you can throw it.
Why?
I mean, why? Because nobody knows what the plan is. They haven't seen what the results are. I mean, the fact of the matter is...
This sounds a lot like what we talked about with Obamacare, by the way, after it was passed.
Well, yes, that's exactly right. And I mean, if you had a poll on 2 years from now, that'd be far more
But then they
reliable.
would say they have no opinion.
No, a third of them say have no opinion.
Yeah, but
they're the honest ones.
Well, that may be, but why would I don't get it either, and I don't necessarily trust the poll, but that's all we have. What evidence do you have that it's popular?
Well, you also have the evidence that it got dropped from that special election in Pennsylvania or in Philadelphia, or sorry, in Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh. That they would have kept selling that and hammering that.
But to answer Richard's question, there are studies, for example, in New York, I can't speak throughout, but that show that a lot of folks are going to get a tax decrease.
No.
Forget the Democratic. No. Studies,
public
not
opinion.
Poll. No, I don't care about the poll.
Well, that's what you're asking about. I'm asking you.
No.
What do you think the public thinks of the tax?
I think the public is driven. The public is driven by the Democratic people talking about how bad this is, worst thing that ever happened in America. The Republicans, how wonderful it is. They don't know what to think. They haven't seen it.
27% like it.
They don't understand it. The 27%.
Are they going to understand it better between now and November?
You know, once they get a tax bill, and that's why a lot of these guys you're going to talk about later, I assume, a lot of these congressional guys, particularly guys on in the more moderate side, they're playing up the tax thing because they believe their constituency. But they believe their constituency ultimately is going to be better.
In the end, you're whistling in the dark, I think. If what you're saying is we can't trust polls anymore. It's a little Trumpian. We can't trust them. The liberal polls, the bias. How do we go about measuring public opinion?
There is nobody who knows how this will affect their tax, even if you went in and tried to figure it out yourself, because literally they're still trying to develop it. So you can ask 1,000 people the question, but they're not going to know the answer.
Even if you're right, what does the public think has political implications, and the only information we have is that poll.
Yeah, you know what? And as we go through the congressional races, what you're going to have is this debate between the Democrats and Republicans. And I don't think, I think that what's going to happen is because nobody really knows, the argument's going to be, wait till you see.
Well, wouldn't they know as of today? I mean, people had to file their 1040s by today.
Yeah, but
so
that's
people would know if they're getting more. Yeah, but it's
no. For 2017,
no, I'm sorry. I've been listening to the spin from the White House because it was going to be the one postcard-sized tax form, and you're going to feel it as of today.
He got you.
All right. I'm curious what your take is on the economy itself. Is the economy doing well, and is it doing well on a granular level that people feel like the economy is doing well? They feel like there's more money in their pocket.
Well, what they feel like is, again, a public opinion question. As it's affected the economy, you can call it either sensible policy or you can call it a sugar high. There comes a time when Trump can actually begin to take credit for what previously was the result of the Obama economy. Until about now, the first year, nothing he did had any impact on the economy. Starting now, you can say maybe. So watch the market, watch the employment numbers. If things go south even a little bit on Trump and the economy, then the route in November is going to be unbelievable.
I want to shift gears, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to get to this too. The charts that we showed talking about deficits and surpluses, and how Republican administrations tend to increase deficits and Democratic administrations have a history of reeling them back and getting into surplus. Somehow, most Americans are convinced it's the other way around, that Republicans are fiscally responsible and Democrats are free spenders, and they're the ones who let the economy go to waste. How has the Republican Party pulled off that magic trick, Scott?
I don't know, but it has happened historically, and it's not a good thing. And a lot of the conservative branch of congressional folks are going to have an awful time trying to explain it. They really are. The only positive side of that is, I think, for a congressional Republican candidate, is to say, look, we've abandoned, for years we didn't fund defense. For years we didn't fund these things. They had to be funded. The stalemate that existed with this budget is time that we actually did it. We're going to take care of it, and ultimately the economy will take care of this. The economy will pick up. And I was just going to say, to Richard's point, I mean, the economy is really, as we discussed, is really related a lot now to the trade issues and the trade barriers that are being created.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is we've adopted as a nation, under Trump and Republican leadership, structural deficits of a size never thought possible before. It is the gift of the Republican Party. If it's a sugar high, they'll get through November. If it's as bad as other people think it is, it won't help.
I think the deficit, or the projected deficit, is right around where it was during the stimulus under Obama, which was immediate spending because of the recession that we were in. This is just going forward. So it's not like we've never seen deficits like this before. We've just only seen them in emergencies.
Like this in the middle of a recovery.
Right. Right.
And that matters. They used, at least the Democrats have a coherent economic philosophy. It's called Keynesianism. You run deficits in a recession, and you pile up surpluses when you're recovery. Republicans, they seem to believe in supply side economics that never work. So it'll come out in the wash.
We will leave that there. And up next, the GOP tax plan we were just talking about could hurt Republicans in November, especially the ones in our area. We're going to look at how the president and his tax plan could be weighing down the GOP right here at home.